Hey everyone, Scott here to discuss The Last King of Scotland, starring Forrest Whitaker, James McAvoy, Kerry Washington, Simon McBurney, and Gillian Anderson, directed by Kevin MacDonald. Now, before I get into this movie, I should say right now, this is a biopic about Idi Amin, the Ugandan dictator from the 1970s to when he got thrown down, and I forget what year it was. They say it at the end, but I'm not going to say it because, yeah. But this is based on history, if you can believe it. And I remember going to theaters for this movie, and what am I going to think about it? Well, we'll see if it still remains. Let's get into the movie. It's 1970 as Nicholas Garrigan, played by James McAvoy, who's actually Scottish in real life, if you could believe that, graduating from medical school in Scotland, and has dinner with his parents to celebrate, and we move on to Nicholas into his bedroom and shouts because he doesn't know where to go until he gets a geography globe. And it starts with Canada, and the second time he goes to Uganda to be a doctor. And I like James McAvoy in general, and I think he's a very good actor, and I've seen him in a ton of stuff that I've even reviewed, like X-Men, Split, Glass, and I've seen him in a ton of stuff, like Chronicles of Narnia, The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe, right after this movie, even up to recently in Speak No Evil, which came out this past weekend. And I remember really liking that movie. It was pretty good, but I don't think it would be a movie I would own on 4K, but it was pretty good. And he's convincing in any movie I've seen him in. As he arrives in Uganda, he takes a bus to doctors David and Sarah Merritt, and Sarah is played by Gillian Anderson from The X-Files, as she picks him up to take Nicholas to his workplace and learns about General Idi Amin, played by an Oscar-winning performance by Forrest Whitaker. And we'll see him a little later, but Nicholas's first day as a doctor is going successfully, but sometimes these scenes are haunting to watch. And the cinematography looks fantastic throughout the movie. David has an emergency to go to as Nicholas and Sarah have a chat about how Nicholas is doing as a candidate for the doctor's job, and plays a little ball with some of the Ugandan kids and in his Scotland t-shirt, and learns Idi Amin is coming to their village as Nicholas and Sarah come to the village and see Idi Amin, who I'm going to call Forrest Whitaker's character Idi Amin for the rest of the show. So if anybody's wondering about that, I am sorry in advance, but that's what I'm going to keep calling him, because he's a real person, in real life. And we first see Idi Amin. Forrest Whitaker pulls off a tremendous performance as the brutal Ugandan dictator, and Mr. Whitaker has a good reason for winning that golden statue from Golden Globe to the Oscar, and for this performance to begin with, as Sarah has seen enough and she believes Idi Amin is corrupt, and they drive to an accident where Idi Amin hurts his own hand, as Nicholas takes care of Idi Amin's hand, while telling Sarah about quieting down the cow involved in the accident, as he asks 4 times, until eventually Nicholas shoots the cow dead because he couldn't hear himself think, and Nicholas tells Idi Amin he's Scottish when he was led to believe he was from England, and they get to know, and there will be reasons why he asked that at the end of the movie, but they get to know each other in exchange his t-shirt for his general's uniform, and Forrest Whitaker and James McAvoy have great chemistry in their scenes. Nicholas tries to have a drink with Sarah as he grabs her hand, and she realizes David is a good man as a husband, and she can't drink with Nicholas, and he kisses her out of the blue and says she can't be in a relationship with Nicholas, which did feel pretty fucking creepy. And next day comes, Nicholas gets a visit from Idi Amin's servant, asking him to come to Idi Amin's house, as he gets in the president's car and goes to Idi Amin's house, and he's now president of Uganda, as he was trying to overthrow another guy. Forgot the guy's name off the top of my head, forgive me for that. And Idi Amin offers Nicholas a job to be his physician, and he debates on either that or working with David and Sarah, and Idi Amin invites Nicholas to a steak dinner with him in other countries, and he accepts to join the dinner, and the production design and set decoration is great to look at, as Uganda is beautiful to watch in this movie. Nicholas visits the bedroom of Idi Amin, and he's sick in the stomach, and Nicholas heals Idi Amin by pushing his stomach, farting it out, which was kind of amusing. And the next day comes, and Nicholas decides to quit working with David and Sarah and works for Idi Amin and replaces Dr. Juju, although he still works with them, played by David Oyelowo, forgive me if I said that wrong, and bumps into Stone, played by Simon McBurney, as I'm led to believe he works for the government of some kind and is against Idi Amin, and it makes sense for history reasons. And I like the story of this movie as it works for history reasons. Idi Amin sends Nicholas to a meeting with some architects, and they design a new building and makes fun of servant Jonah while Nicholas works with Dr. Juju, and they hear some gunshots, and Nicholas is sent to Idi Amin's house and helps out one of the kids named Mackenzie, one of his kids, I'll say, while the kid's mother and Idi Amin's wife, Kay, played by Kerry Washington, who is a fantastic actress, and I fell in love with her in a movie called Save the Last Dance, and she's great in this movie. And after Nicholas heals Mackenzie, he sets up an appointment for Mackenzie, as we move on to a play performed by the Ugandan women as Idi Amin buys Nicholas a car for saving Mackenzie's life. And there were times I couldn't understand the accents, but that what makes these actors great in their roles. Nicholas drives Idi Amin in his car to the airport as Idi Amin has to visit Libya, and Nicholas tells Idi Amin about Mackenzie's condition as he doesn't want to talk about it, as Idi Amin appreciates Nicholas's honesty, until some gangsters try to kill Idi Amin and Nicholas, and they catch the gangsters, and Idi Amin interrogates them, and the soldiers kill the gangsters off screen. And remember, this is the history of Idi Amin as a dictator, and the violence can get graphic at times for history reasons. And Nicholas goes to a bar and stares at Jonah, and Idi Amin has to sign some paperwork in front of Nicholas as he tells Idi Amin about an issue which probably is nothing, but Nicholas believes Jonah is working for the government and tells him to talk with Jonah, and the editing is tightly paced as this is working for a full 2-hour movie. Nicholas visits Kay and the family at the pool, and Stone bumps into Nicholas and talks with him and learns that some men are missing and asks for a normal explanation in which he doesn't know about, as Nicholas tries to visit the head minister but is unsuccessful as he's gone missing. And Nicholas sees it and goes to Stone's house along with a reporter writing a story of Idi Amin's dictatorship, and Nicholas decides to quit and go back to Scotland while Idi Amin pulls off a prank to Nicholas, and after have a chat about why Nicholas is going home, and Idi Amin says he can't go home as his work is not finished with Idi Amin, as he's led to believe. He owns Nicholas and talks him into staying as Nicholas learns Jonah is dead, and this scene made me fucking nervous as it was completely intense. This is the second half where this movie gets really intense. Nicholas is at a pool party with Idi Amin as he meets new people, and at one point he bumps into Kay, looking absolutely beautiful, as Kerry Washington is in general, and tells her he should be in Scotland while Idi Amin's guards are watching over him, and smooches Kay and humps her ass while she's married to Idi Amin, which is the most fucked up scene for marriage reasons. Excuse me. And she tells him to find a way to get out of Uganda, as well as he can't trust anyone, like at all, until a guard looks for Nicholas, and he runs out and sees Idi Amin playing an instrument, which sounds nice, and the next day comes, and someone has broken into Nicholas's house. He receives a passport so he could get the fuck out of there, and I feared for Nicholas's life, for the rest of the movie, and this is pretty strongly engaging. Nicholas visits Stone at 4 a.m. to help him get out of Uganda, and Stone is going to help him get the fuck out of there by killing Idi Amin, and I'm thinking, no, fuck that bullshit. As Nicholas goes back to work, and Idi Amin says on the TV that the English government are at war with Uganda, and they have 90 days to leave, and people are fighting with Dr. Juju and slapping him around, and Nicholas tells him not to fight in a hospital, and talks with Idi Amin as he tells him he's nobody, and encounters Sarah as she's on a bus leaving Uganda, and Nicholas gets a call from Kay saying Idi Amin is going to kill him and Kay. And they talk in the car, and Nicholas asks of Kay to stay in the house, while Nicholas asks Dr. Juju to help her out, and he declines, and Nicholas takes some medical stuff, and Idi Amin sends his guards to get Nicholas to him, and Idi Amin tells Nicholas about how he learns he's a madman, as Nicholas tells him to do what to do. And this movie is making me think, oh shit, Nicholas is fucked at this point, as Idi Amin grabs Nicholas's head, and Nicholas tries to make him sleep for a while, as Idi Amin asks Nicholas to stay for a press conference. And this movie is starting to scare the hell out of me, despite this isn't a horror film. This is a drama and a biopic. Idi Amin and Nicholas are at the press conference, and afterhand he goes back to the house, and Kay is taken to the hospital while there are some tremendous shots throughout the movie, and Nicholas gets to the hospital and sees Kay's arms and legs are chopped off. And I thought, oh, fuck, this is scaring me. Like, it was on my mind for many years, and this movie came out in 2006, still haunts me to this fucking day, and will continue to haunt me, as this is fucking terrifying as a shot. And Idi Amin watches something I thought was a porno from America, and Nicholas gives Idi Amin some kind of drugs, and the music is scene was out of place, and Nicholas is stopped by guards, and Idi Amin stops him from leaving as he takes him to the airport for some hostages reasons. And I'm on the very edge of my seat. Idi Amin and Nicholas go to Idi Amin's airplane, and Nicholas has to see some patients, and one of the guards realizes Nicholas is trying to poison Idi Amin. And Nicholas is taken hostage, beaten up by Idi Amin's guards, while Idi Amin tells him his death will be the last thing he has ever done, as he knows everything about him and Kay, as it betrays him. It puts Nicholas on hooks, which was reminding me of the remake of the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, unfortunately, where Leatherface put people on hooks and hangs them like the way Idi Amin did to Nicholas in that scene. The only difference is this is more history. And I thought, oh, good God, please don't let Nicholas fucking die. And tells the hostages Israel is negotiating with Uganda. And come on, he's making it up as he's bullshitting his way out, while Dr. Juju helps Nicholas up and heals him and puts him with the hostages in the airplane, and he goes home to tell the truth about Idi Amin's crimes as a dictator, while Dr. Juju is shot dead, and Nicholas makes it out of Uganda alive. And this climax scared the hell out of me in the most intense way possible. But let's see how good of a movie it is with the rating. I'll give this movie a 8.6 out of 10. Forest Whitaker delivers a fantastic performance, and there's a damn good reason he won a Golden Statue called the Oscar, as well as a Golden Globe. And James McAvoy, I enjoyed his presence, starting with when I first saw him in the first Narnia film, to recently in Speak No Evil, as well as other films I reviewed him in, as he's a tremendous actor. And their chemistry worked throughout, and I liked the characters, while the cinematography was beautiful throughout the movie, as the production design and set decoration, which makes Uganda look absolutely gorgeous. I like the story as it works for history reasons, as the violence is graphic for damn sure. But remember, this is history, and the editing works as it is a full 2-hour movie with a great true story. And there were times the movie scared me in the most graphic way possible, despite this isn't a horror film. This is more of a drama, biopic, you name it. It was very intense at times, and there were times I feared for James McAvoy's character's life in this movie, as this is strongly engaging, as it is a solid recommendation. If you want to learn more about Idi Amin in the early 1970s with The Last King of Scotland, then it works great like that, as this movie is tremendous. So I'd like to thank you guys for joining me for this review, and until then, have a good night, everyone.